So we're going to continue Unit 11 of the Moreno units for the Menucha of Sir named Danger Sir and Sir Moshe Montefiore. We are going to try to get a more Londish view of the whole question of the hefker of the fruit. Now, two questions come up. One question is, do I need to enact the hefker? Does the Torah say you should mafkir? We started with the Mechilta that says that you need to notesh your field. We discussed, does that mean that you notesh your field? That the land itself is hefker or not? Whatever. So we're setting that aside. We're moving on to the fruit. What about the fruit? You need to mafkir the fruit. Does that mean that the fruit is yours and you have to actively mafkir it? Does that mean that mirosh, as the fruit comes onto the tree, as the fruit grows, it's already hefker, right? That's one question. Now, what do you say? Sorry? Right, so Gavra, you want to say it's Gavra and Chefta? Right, I didn't hear the word you said. Yes. Afkata de Malka seems to be that Hashem enacts that hefker as opposed to chiyuv to enact the hefker, to mafkir it, right? The chiyuv to mafkir it seems to imply that it's yours, but we expect you to mafkir it. Now, what happens? Let's start from a different question. What happens in the case of safek? Let's say you're not sure if something is mechuyav in Shmita. Would you be chayav to mafkir it or not? What do you guys think? You have fruit and you say, I'm not sure if the chanata was before or after Rosh Hashanah. What should the din be? So let's assume that Shmita is doraita. So you say, Sfek doraita. You say, what would that depend on?
Oh, you're bad.
Hooray. This goes back to the famous question of why do we say Matzim Chavala Avaraya? We should always say Sfek doraita l'chumra, right? Famous question, Shariyosh or Sharhei, goes through all the answers. The real answer is that when we said the Sfek D'Oraita applies to Gezel, to withholding someone else's items, right? Belongings. Now, so we have a way to give a decree in the case where we're not sure what the Choshen Mishpat status is. Once we've given a decree in that status, then we enact the Safek D'Oraita. In other words, I have a case where I have a suffix whether something I'm holding is Philip's or not. Philip says give it, and I say I don't want it. Now, am I sure it's mine? I'm not sure. So we go to the Beit Din, one right over here, so it's convenient, and they say what that means is, as far as we're concerned, if it's Bayu, it's yours. And then I say, wait, but maybe I'm Sfek Gazlan. We say, no. Since we've decreed that if it's Bayu, it's yours, that's already the legal decree that happens before the halachic one of what am I supposed to do about something I'm not sure is mine. So now, in the case of the Perot Shvit, how do we look at that? So there are a few ways to look at it. First of all, should we say here, so we have precedent in that. I'll give one example of Sfek Bechor. If someone has a baby and there's a Sfek whether there's a Chiyuv Bechor, whether he has to Podeh, what's the din? Negid, yeah. Negid some kind of Kesari, yeah. Some case where, right. Kesari that we're not sure would put her or not. So on the one you say there's a chiyuv, right? You should give the money, right? But the halacha is Philip said that the Kohen has to prove that I owe him the money. So that's I don't give the pidyon ben. I don't give the money, right? Do we do the same? Well, we do the same for the Shmita fruit. So this depends on a few things. Number one is Shmita, is the hefker fundamentally an Isur thing or a Mammon thing? Meaning, how does it work? Is it primarily Kadosh And then since it's kadosh, one of the ramifications of the kedusha is that it's not mine. Right? Or do I say it primarily has, right, we mentioned a few times, is the kedusha, when we say kedusha, are we talking about ye'ud? What's the word for you? Had a good word for ye'ud. No? Is it, right, when you, we're talking about the kedusha of the fruit, are we referring to some kind of transcendent holiness that the kedusha has? Or are we referring to what you received the fruit for, right? A certain purpose that the fruit has. And the purpose the fruit has is to go to the public. Now, if I look at it just as there's a certain purpose, which is it's supposed to be the public's, I say, well, I'm not sure if it's mine or the public's, right? So the sfek d'oraita. So here I wouldn't look at the sfek d'oraita. I'd look at the legal questions in mine or the public's. If I talk about the transcendent kedusha that goes into the fruit, and therefore I have to allow everyone to take it, then tov sfek transcendence l'chumra, right? It's no longer a money issue. Now let's go back to the previous question. Is the fruit, when the fruit grows, whose is it? The Shmita fruit. Whose is it when it grows? Either Hashem's. So before it ever existed, there's already that safek, right? So can I say right, you see the problem. Now, if I say it's mine, but I have a chiyuv to mafkir the fruit, so I say it's mine, now prove that it isn't. Now prove that I need to mafkir it. But if we say kili haaretz, right, afkata de malka, right, as the fruit grows, it's already not mine. Not that the fruit grows not mine. It's not that the fruit grows mine and I have to do a maisa of hefker. It grows not mine. Go ahead. Huh? Not before, so no, it doesn't exist. No. No, I'm talking about a different case. I'm talking about let's one by one. If we have a definite chanata on Cheshvan of this year, right? So the fruit, if I say Afkat de Malka, it means that it's already not mine. It's not that when it grows, I'll then put a sign up and say whoever wants can take it. I mean, I will have to do that. But the reason I'll do that is because it's already not mine. It's not that with that act I'm now actively mafkir it. Right? It's a legal question. Whose fruit is this when it grows? Is it already Hashem's as it grows? Or is it mine, but I have a chiyuv to mafkir? You see the? Yes. The reason. Okay, so those are two ways of reading the pasuk, right? All right. I'm just saying now. Said those are no during the Shmita, only during the Shmita. The rest of the years it's not mine, and during So when you say Kili Haaretz, Hashem is saying I take my land back on Shmita. The rest of the years it's you can be a serf in my field for the 6 years. On the 7th year, I'm kicking you out. It's mine. Then I say now the fruit grew. Whose is it? Who owns it? The Shmita fruit in my garden. Who owns it? That's the question. No, it's said there, but the question is what happens on the 7th year? Right? These are the two ways. I understand the argument. I'm just saying, so you're saying that when my fruit grows on my tree, it's mine. But I have a chiyuv to mafkir it. No problem. I have a chiyuv to mafkir it. So we're gonna see that not everyone agrees with that. So I'm setting the stage to So you're just saying that this is a theological question of how does Shmita work, right? But it's also a halachic question of what happens if Sfik Shvit, right? I have fruit that I'm not sure if it was chonat before or after Rosh Hashanah. So if I say it's mine, I can argue right? Just like in by Bechor. But if I say it's already hefker, so I have a safek whether it was ever mine. Right. Let's see what the Afikayam says. Says the Afikayam on page 7. Saying not bad. We're moving, what? Yeah, we're moving. Imnoma, we actually did get to here, but yes. Imnoma the hefker migzat katuv me'afkat demalka. Page 6 was only a summary. מסתבר יותר דזהו מקדושת שביעית, וכך הקדושה שחל על פירות שביעית, ממילא הוא שמפקיעם גם כן מרשות בעלים, נעשים הפקר ממילא. He says like this. If we say הפקד דמלכה, how does it work? What is the system? He argues that if we say הפקד דמלכה, it means that the transcendent kedusha appears on the fruit. Since it appeared on the fruit, one of the ramifications is the fruit is already not mine. Let's skip to the second paragraph. Not a right, doesn't have a like these Rishonim and Dr. Rollins. Yes. He says like this. It can't be if there's a transcendent kedusha that happens on its own, right? He's saying the two machlokot should depend one on the other. If there's a transcendent kedusha, where do you see that kedusha? What is the actual ramification of that kedusha? Right, it has to already appear. Mimela, it must mean the fruit is already hefker. But if we're talking about Ye'ud, right, that the fruit has a certain purpose, and that's the kedusha in the sense of something that's set aside for a certain purpose. So they say it has a certain purpose, and that's on you. You have to enact that purpose. There's nothing to do with kedusha. Again, if the hefker is based on the transcendence, then if the hefker is based on the transcendence, then it should already be hefker. I'm skipping to the third line, the middle of the third line, smack in the middle of the third line of the second paragraph. מסתבר תורמה, the hefker הוא עניין ממון. ואף יש מצוות עשה עליו להפקיר. מצוין כזה כמה מצוות שיקרא עניין ממון, בספק ממון לכולה. So he says, ממילא, like this. If we say afkat de malka, it means that it's that the status of the fruit is based on Kadosh Baruch Hu's definition in the fruit. Mimele sfeik l'chumra, because sfeik hekdesh, sfeik kodesh, right? But if it's a matter of, if it's a chiyuv on you to master the fruit, that means it didn't happen yet. Now, what about selling the fruit? Would I be allowed to sell the fruit? Says Rafi, no. Why not? Because that's an isur. So two different questions. One is, am I mechuyev to mafkir? The answer is no. Am I allowed to sell? Also not. Why? Because that's svek isur. Mamun wise, who owns the fruit? I don't know. Maybe me, maybe not. But I'm muchzak. If I say it's afkat de malka, I'm not muchzak. If it's a kedusha thing, I'm not muchzak. That's how the Afikayam wants to resolve this safek. I want to do some now. Now you'll see I'm in business. That's not what I meant. You know what? No, I won't do it like that. So that's just to get us a bit into the sugya. Now let's see the actual sugya. Let's go to page 8. Says the Gemara in Bava Metzia Daf Lametet, Ma'ishna Hanach Dikar in the Tushin the Be'al Kochan. The Gemara there is discussing different situations in which you have a field that's not so clear who's going to take care of the field, who's going to be on top of this field, who's going to happen in this field. Fine. So netushim is a case where someone had to run away from the government or was jailed or whatever, and now his karka, no one has anyone to take care of his field, of his land. And then there's also what do you do with land that was just abandoned in such a state? All right. Why is it called netushim? The be'al kolchan, things that happen inadvertently, regardless of whether you are interested in that. So the lashon of Shmita, the lashon of netisha, is something that does not depend on your choice. It happens on its own. That's what the Maharit says. You see in the next source. That's in Hashem was already mafkir. The governor, right? The king was already mafkir. Malkot Shel Olam was already mafkir. That's what the Gemara seems to say. Sorry, I know you don't like the Gemara. Look up. But the Pater Shulchan disagrees. There's no way to reach any clear verdict from this. He doesn't want you ask you if you want to. He still tells you to do it. So it's tzivui. Tzivui implies that you have to write. That you have to make the choice and do it. So I don't ask you if you want to, you need to. I'm not saying I'm not asking if you want to, it already happened. I'm saying you must. So, all right. This is the Yerushalmi, and this is a great Yerushalmi because the Yerushalmi, what's wonderful about this Yerushalmi is that everyone brought a raya from this Yerushalmi, and they all say that there's a raya that cannot be, that no one can refute, an irrefutable raya. The problem is that everyone, when I say everyone, I mean both sides of the machloket, both brought this Yerushalmi as a raya for their position. And both said it is an irrefutable raya. Both sides. It's wonderful. Let's see the Yerushalmi. hefker bedin hefker. דכתיב, וכל אשר לא יבוא לשלושת הימים בעצת השרים והזקנים, יחורם כל רכושו. So from here we learn that Beit Din can say those things that you own, well, not anymore. You don't own them anymore. Who enacted that hefker? Right? That was very good. Ezra Beit Dino, right? The Beit Din could enact such a hefker. Who enacted the hefker during Shmita? Depends who you ask. Maharit or right? Sorry. מניין שהוא פטור מן המעשרות, רבי יונתן ברי דרב יצחק ברכה שמע למנהדה. אין מעברים את השנה, why מעשרות, presumably, because it's all very well to say hefker, and we're going to tell everyone not to take your ownership seriously. It's all very cute. But what about real ramifications? When you say hefker, do you mean business? Like you're going to take halachic, d'oraita ramifications and say, yes, this really is hefker, so there's no chiyuv truma to masrot? Right? Do we mean it, or is it just, yeah, you really not own it, or do you just tell people you could ignore him? Rabbi Yonatan Brei Rav Yitzchak Baracha Shama Leminhad. אין מעברים את השנה לא בשביעית ולא במוצאי שביעית. מברוע הרי זו מעוברת, וחודש אחד שהוא מוסיף לו פטור ממעשרות היא. So, what happens here exactly? We added another month. This happens sometimes, like this year. We added an extra month to Shmita. We try to avoid it, but sometimes we must. What does this prove? We say, Beit Din add an extra month, and then the fruit that will go through Chanata during Elul of this year, Elul of this year should have been Tishrei, right? We had an extra Adar. The second Adar was going to be Tafshin Pei Bet anyway. Right. Just Nisan. When would be Tafshin Pei Gimel? Elul. So further goes through Chanata during Elul. We'll have to Kedushat Shvid next year, right? In this Elul, in our Elul this year, not past Elul, this Elul that is Shmita, the upcoming Elul in 3 months. Right. Now, the fruit itself will only be ripe 2 months later. Doesn't matter. It's Kedushat Shvid, right? All right. Do I have to take Torah to Masrot from that fruit? Of course not, because Perot Shvit, right? What made it Perot Shvit? Beit Din's decree. Okay. Now, how does that have any bearing? What? Correct. Now, how does that bear out on our sugya?
Go to that little basket.
Nachon.
Yes.
Nachon. Explain. That's where we're going.
Another thing to say in reading.
Well, let's see the proof first. Let's see the Maharit first. And then you'll argue. So just so everyone will know what we're arguing about before we start arguing. Says in the Beit Ridvaz, brings this raya. בגרזם בירושלמי, בא מה שיהיה הפקר זה, להפקר בדין לעשות, כמה שמונה הם מרבים את השנה בשביעית, זה שביעית, אם בור מעובר, וכו'. I'm skipping the next paragraph because it repeats the Yerushalmi up to there. נעימה, had השביעית בדומה לעשות משום דבעל הבית מפקיר שדהו וכרמו. Hold on. What? Who's mafkir the Perot Shvit? Hooray, the Ptorim from Asrot Lechor is based on the hefker, right? Why don't you have in Toronto Asrot on Shmita? Because the fruit is hefker, right? Who's mafkir? Who enacts the hefker? As you ask. So let's assume it's the Balabait who's mafkir. So what happens? I have this fruit that was chonet during Elul. And I say, wait, is it really Elul? Because I don't think it was really Elul. I counted 12 months and I think it's Tishrei already, right? They said, no, Beit Din made a decree that it's still Elul because we've added a second Adar. All right. I'm a good Jew. I'll listen to Beit Din. What do? I'm afkir the fruit. Now, why is it patur from Torah to Masrot? Because of me, not because of Beit Din. Nothing is Beit Din. No, true. But the Yerushalmi wants to say, here I have proof that the Beit Din could mafkir. That the Beit Din's hefker is a real hefker in all senses. That Yerushalmi's question is, how do I know that Beit Din's hefker is a real hefker? And how do I know it really works? How do I know that really when Beit Din are mafkir, it really is all of the halachic ramifications really happen? That's the question. Says the Yerushalmi, I can prove it to you because if Beit Din had an extra month, Beit Din created another month of hefker. And I said, no, they didn't. They just told me to mafker, and I'm a good Jew, so I'm mafker. That's all. So if I'm the one who enacts the hefker, there's no proof from this. The proof only works if I assume that the ptor on Shmita is something that comes from above, and not that I enact. All right. That's a good question. So I'm ignoring that question for the moment, although it is a good question.
The fact that there were a few moments before you
Yeah.
you have to take moments.
No. No, because it depends on the kitav miluach. It depends on the status of the kitav miluach.
So yeah, that's strange because it's being that somehow this halachic way to do things. It's two way makes it different. Another question from the last part. So I have to actually
Mm-hmm.
participant to really. As far as I can see, I would not this question
No,
before.
I forgot that it was hurtful. There was hurtful. Oh, you're making this.
Okay. Why? Because Hashem's is different.
I've been given a Shiur. I'm part of a cog along the sperm of the street.
No, but again, but that doesn't matter. Again, when the fruit when the fruit grows, whose is it? Yeah. Do I have liability? That would be the machloket. Let's assume she can. No. It's not my fruit. It's not my fruit. Why should I be liable? No, it's not. I've said that. But you see, the Yerushalmi is not assuming that. I understand why that's the more compelling way of looking at it, but you see, the Yerushalmi doesn't look at it like that. Because the Yerushalmi says we see that the Beit didn't have the ability to create a hefker. Say, really, where? If all of Shmita is always, I'm telling you it's yours and you need to mafkir, so where do I see anywhere that Beit didn't have the power to mafkir? They didn't do anything. They told me what to do.
Yeah, but then you tell me you are sick.
See my
You
problem?
don't relax enough. You don't rest enough.
Allows you
So that, but you can't prove, but you can't always prove. But the question is again, the Yerushalmi's basic question was, if tomorrow Beit didn't say this guy B'tzal Dan, that he's not a good guy, we're gonna mafkir his garden, stam. So there, in 2 years from now, stam, nothing Shmita, not nothing, just shoot. That's your penalty for just being such a whatever, a bad Jew. So that's your penalty. Yalla. So now the question comes up: when someone picks my fruit, is there chiyuv to masrot? They say, well, depends. If it's mine, but we allow people to take it, so there'll be a chiyuv to masrot when it's mine. If I say no, they didn't really warm after, it's really not mine, so there won't be a chiyuv to masrot. That's the Yerushalmi's question. What would be the din in this case? The Yerushalmi brings the art, right? And the Yerushalmi says, it works. It really isn't his. So you really prove it. So here's my proof. If Beit didn't add another month to Shmita, the fruit really is hefker. Now, says Dr. Berlitz, of course the fruit is hefker, because the guy is mafker the fruit. The fruit is hefker. Right, which means that the Yerushalmi is a non sequitur, right? You can't prove from this case to our discussion, right? Our discussion is not if I tell you to mafkir. Our discussion is if Beit Din are mafkir.
adding on an extra money.
Is he doing this live and online?
Yeah.
Adding an extra money.
That's where it's always been?
No.
This is the
when it
first
was
time.
closure, well, no. It's already.
Yeah, but it's definitely not.
But they used to do it only on Zoom. When it was.
Trust me, I only have oranges, and my oranges only
Derek
go
was
through
organized, so
Chanatan.
he did it only on Zoom. He used to do it from home. Now he does it from the shul. You can see Aaron Kodesh. This is their symbol. You see them there, Aaron Kodesh, this?
Mhm.
This is their I'm doing.
Maybe not for you, but I only have oranges. It's the only thing I have. I don't have oranges, and they go through Chanata Elul only. That's my
Beautiful discussion.
right now.
This year coming Elul, right?
If you say there's a chiyuv on me to mafkir my oranges,
Usually Elul is the end of the
so
year,
that doesn't,
right?
so this wouldn't prove that the bait didn't have the ability to mafkir.
But now
They
it's
did
the
it.
problem.
That was
When
me.
you
Not them.
mafkir your land,
I think it's
you
right.
don't
No?
chiyuv, you have no chiyuv.
I think your problem is that you don't like the question.
Because the land is not yours. You don't benefit.
Why?
You give it to everybody. Okay. So what are you going to do with the Chodesh Elul this year? Chodesh Elul is actually Chodesh Tishrei.
You don't
It
find
was a
convincing.
leap year, right? Normal year is 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
Chodesh Elul is the 13 months. So that's the discussion now.
No, but
That's the discussion now. Uh-huh.
so we're in this. So that's about the point where you see that in Rav Kook now.
Problem is
Then
because
Rav
of
Kook, the first
that
will read the
being
last line.
the 13 months that you do not need to
Right,
have
נכונה, ברורה שאין
You do
עליה
not need
תשובה.
to have what?
hefker. You don't have to put it hefker.
Can
You
we
don't need
get
to put
the,
it
can we
hefker.
get the participants?
Says Rav
Do
Kook,
you pay? Do
יש
you
להביא
have to
ראיה
give
מכאן
more
של בית יוסף, שבשביעית המצווה היא שכל אחד יפקיר את פירותיו. וזה חייב.
paper towels?
Can we get the participants, Rav?
יש לומר שבדיוק,
So that's why I
מביא
heard
שם
that.
ראיה, not bדיוק, exactly, it's with precision. כי
So the
בוודאי,
last month you don't have to
כל אחד
pay.
מישראל,
Last
יוצא
month,
כדתו,
this
יסדר
year
בשביעית.
particularly.
Yes, because it's a week.
וסתם דעתו, בוודאי, השנה קצובה בלא חודשי בור. כיוון שלכתחילה אסור לעבור בשביעית. Meaning, he's taking Dr. Berlitz's route, but doing it differently. He says like this. What does a good from Jude do? On Erev Rosh Hashanah, he says, Hareini mekabel al atzmi, right? Erev Rosh Hashanah of Shvit. Hareini mekabel al atzmi ve'al kol sdotai kedushat hashvi'it שנאמר והשביעית ישמטנה ונטשתה והריני נוטש ומפקיר את שדי ופירותיי במשך י"ב החודשים הקרובים. Right? Who did this on Erev Rosh Hashanah last year? No? No. Too many sleepless nights. Is that it? Now, so that's what he does in advance. That's the system. When does the system end? 12 months later. They say, oh, wait, like tap on the shoulder. They have a problem. Then an extra month. So that'll be 13 months. Now, כשבית דין מודיעים שעיבור היא מעוברת, כאמרו, אבל לא הייתה דעתו על שנת העיבור, כשיהיה חיוב חדש על כל אחד ואחד, שהפקיר אתה את שדהו מחדש לשם חודש עיבור, זה לא מצינו כלל. איך הוא פתאום לעשות, והלא בכלל הפקיר ראשון לא היה. And again, we have to get in Bet Yosef's mindset. The Bet Yosef is the one who says that the hefker happens on that. Sorry, that you have to enact the hefker. Question: when do you enact it? The Rav Kook says you enact it at the beginning of the year. You say, I'm after everything. Now, when, over the next 12 months, comes the 13th month, are you after it? No, you didn't yet. Okay. So who's after it? That's the proof that the Gemara is bringing. The Yerushalmi is saying, we have no one else to mafkir it. It must have been the Beit Din who mafkir it. It's like this. Let's look at the other option. Let's say anything that grows during Shmita is automatically hefker because Hashem said so. So Philip pointed out before, let's say last year would have been the Shnat Ibur, right? So we started the whole Shmita a month late, right? Who is mafkir the fruit of this Elul that should have been a month earlier? Shari, last year we had an extra month. Forget this year. Last year we had an extra month, not this year. Who added the extra month? How did we sound? How did the Elul write? We didn't actually have an extra month. It's 12 months, but it's the wrong 12 months. No? The answer is Beit Din's decree defines the calendar. That's it. If it happens automatically, when Hashem says, right, every time there's Chanata, he says that fruit, hefker, 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 hefker. Hashem goes around to all the fields all the time and declares hefker on everything. That's what he does. That's what he's busy doing all of Shmita. So now, I know Hashem can be too busy to do it. Fine. Now, so that's Hashem does the whole Shmita. So, Beit Din had an extra month. Okay, who's mafkir the fruit? Hashem. Just like he's mafkir the fruit during Nisan, he's mafkir the fruit during Elul. And during the fruit during Adar Bet, doesn't matter. If Hashem is the one who's mafkir everything, there's no proof from here that Beit Din's hefker is hefker. It just proves that the calendar they decree is a calendar, that's all. Okay, so how does the Gemara work? How does it prove that there's hefker Beit Din? The answer is, if we assume that you have to mafkir, that means that you in advance say, this is the time that's allotted and this is the time I'm being mafkir, no more than that. Sunday of the 13th month, who's mafkir that? That was Beit Din. So?
Instead of the first.
How does it work? Good question. Answer: hefker Beit Din hefker. Since Beit Din need this hefker to work for the ibur to mean anything, mimela they're going to enact the hefker. Yeah, as a shlichut, ki'ilu. Good. So in the chinai, that's the proof.
So, for example, in 13 months, there wouldn't be much like it.
Would be a machloket.
The 13 months. That is automatically, if I don't be a mafkir, because they say that you are mafkir.
Right. No, they're right. Nachinami. Nachon. The 13th month is the only one that would be automatically kulei al. If I say Hashem is mafkir, Hashem is mafkir already. If I say that the person is mafkir, the Beit Din is mafkir. But says Rav Kook, what does the Yerushalmi? What's the Yerushalmi say? The Yerushalmi says that the Beit Din that's mafkir. So you can't say, well, according to the other position, yeah, but that other position is against the Yerushalmi, clearly. Right? In that tshuva. Exactly. הרי זה, לפי זה, הרי מכאן ראיה, מדבר ירושלמי עליו, בשביל בית יוסף, לבין בשביט הפקר מפורש. פשטן של דברים הם, skipping the next paragraph, שאפילו אם נאמר שיש חיוב להפקיר, מכל מקום רענן סעדי שאינו מפקיר מפני שיש שנת שמיטה. גם בחודש העבור על פי בית דין, אם לא הייתה שמיטה, לא היה מפקיר, שתהיה שנת שמיטה נמשרת גם בחודש זה ומעשה בית דין, דבר זה מקיים את ההפקר, עם זה שגם בית הפקר, על כל פנים לקש עם זה של בית יוסף. בקיצור, so, as I said, nice thing about this is that they both there's a very strange Yerushalmi, and they both bring a very strong raya. So what you have so far, just to sum up what we had so far, is the question of safek, how to treat the case of safek based on the idea of afkat de malka, based on your personal chiyuv to mafkir. Very strange Yerushalmi that wants to prove that if you add an extra month, it suddenly becomes a hefker Beit Din. That prove that the hefker is from above, or haful, that prove that generally speaking, the hefker should be from you, but during that month, you won't do it, so we need the Beit Din to interject.